Hey everyone, and welcome to the Ghost Biker Garage. We're really excited to be here on another Thursday night. We're actually on location again. I'm doing some traveling for a haunted ride that I have this weekend, as well as an event at the RM Brooks store. So, been doing some traveling with that, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. But again, wanted to welcome everyone here and hope everyone is having a great week so far. I know it's about to become absolutely perfect riding weather here where we are in East Tennessee. Um, I think the next week is supposed to be sunny and 70 degrees. It's going to be perfect to be out on the motorcycle and perfect for this weekend's world's largest ghost hunt here in this area. So, hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know you know my guest for tonight, so I'm not going to waste very much time getting him on here because if you watch the show, I guess it was probably about a month ago, we had tonight's guest on. And we had a little bit of technical difficulties. And so I wanted to make sure to be able to bring him back to chat with us and continue where we left off. So I'm going to go ahead, introduce him, bring him on, and I'm going to let him talk a little bit about where, how he got started and exactly what he does before we continue where we were before. Um, so like I said, we had him on a few weeks ago, and we had some technical difficulties, and so wanted to bring him back. Mr. Preston Dennett. He is a field investigator for the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, a ghost hunter, a paranormal researcher, and the author of 27 books and more than 100 articles about UFOs and the paranormal. His articles have appeared in numerous magazines, and he has appeared on various radio and television programs. Preston's research has been presented by the LA Times, the LA Daily News, the Dallas Morning News, and other newspapers, and he has taught many classes on various paranormal subjects and lectures across the United States. So I'm going to not waste any time and bring Mr. Preston Dennett on. Hey, Preston.
Hi, Miranda.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Not bad. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. I'm excited to have you back on and excited to have everyone here in the chat room. So, if anyone has any questions or anything, please feel free to make your comments in the chat room. We'll pull them up on the screen. And if you have any questions, we'll actually wait until we get a pause during our conversation and we'll address those as they come up. So, Preston, if you want to kind of reintroduce yourself and talk a little bit about how you got started for those who didn't catch the show the first time, I wanted to kind of give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. Thanks, Miranda. Well, I can tell you one thing. I never thought in a million years I'd ever be studying UFOs. 'Cause I just wasn't interested. I did not believe in them and was kind of repulsed by the subject because I thought people were lying or misperceiving or hallucinating. I just didn't believe it and I wasn't interested. And that all changed, obviously, in 1986, November 17th, 1986, when there was a sighting over Alaska. I've told the story many times, so I'll just briefly say, yeah, it was an amazing sighting involving a Japanese commercial airliner, which got on the news. And I remember it was like Dan Rather or Tom Brokaw, one of those main news guys, and started joking about this crazy pilot. And I thought this pilot was obviously crazy too. And they did not take this report seriously at all. But I thought, they showed the picture of the pilot, Kenju Taroshi. I now know who it is. I thought, that poor man, that poor deluded pilot, what is he thinking? Why did he go public? He's got to be insane. And it turned out that he did see a UFO, and I found out that my brother had seen one. And one thing led to another. And found out that UFOs were real. A lot of my family, my friends, my coworkers were seeing them.
Wow. So were they pretty open about coming forward about it, or did they kind of have a little bit of a reservation just because they were afraid they might be met with people feeling the same way you do or did?
Yeah, my brother Mark was open. Yeah, he was absolutely open. But I'm going to say that the rest, not so much at first, at least. My sister-in-law, she was a little bit reluctant at first to talk about her UFO sighting, but once I let her know that I wasn't going to ridicule her, she did talk about it. And she also later revealed that she had seen grays face to face. So I think that was sort of why she was reluctant. But
Sure.
my friends, no problem. They had no problem talking. Sylvia, she's a pilot, scuba diver, a great witness. She's like, oh yeah, me and my friend went running out. We heard this loud buzzing noise over the house. I'm like, really? I'd been to her house, of course. She's like, yeah, you've been there. And it was this huge egg-shaped object that went right low over the house. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Another friend, well, a friend of a friend, really, Mark Grant was my sister's friend. She worked with him. He was a tow truck driver, and he had a UFO sighting very close to where I lived. And he's describing it. At the time, I didn't realize he had missing time. Now, looking back on the interview I did with him, I'm like, ooh, I think he had missing time. The UFO was in one position, and then boom, it's in another. They're freaking out. They had a very strong emotional response. So yeah, I mean, this hit home for me. I brought it up at work. That was a mistake. Oh my God, Diane, this lady I'd worked with for years. It's like, oh yeah, me and my whole family saw it. You know my daughter. I'm like, yeah. She's like, she was there too. It was this star-like object darting around. And in walks Dorothy. And I love Dorothy because Dorothy's a riot. I mean, she's just so unfiltered, right? Very outgoing. And she's like, UFOs? One followed me home from the library, me and my friend Carol. And she described this incredible encounter where they were chased by a UFO. It's like, Preston, the weirdest thing happened. We left the library at 9 o'clock, exactly, because that was when the library closed. Which is, it may have been 5 minutes more, but it's pretty much 9 o'clock. And we drove home. We lived 5 minutes from the library. This is the Pio Pico Library in Koreatown, Southern California. And we saw this UFO dart off. You know, it had followed us home. It darted off. And they look at the clock. It's now 10:15. I don't know what happened to the time.
Wow. So is that a pretty common thing from most of the people you've talked to, is missing time?
I would say it's fairly common. I wouldn't say it's more common than I thought it was. I will say that. At that point, I knew what missing time meant. She didn't. And missing time, of course, is it's a very strong indicator of an onboard experience that you don't remember or deeper levels of contact. And she's like, I don't know what happened at the time. And I'm like, I think I do. Because by that point, I had picked up Bud Hopkins' book, Missing Time. And the few others you can find, there weren't a lot, really. There was Travis Walton's book, Not Fire in the Sky, the first one. The Roswell incident. There was the book about Betty and Barney Hill, of course. A few others, Betty Andreasson, the Andreasson affair. But it wasn't like it is now. So she had no idea what missing time meant.
Wow. I mean, that's quite a lot of time. I mean, that's what, almost an hour and 15 minutes that she was missing when she experienced that.
Yep. And I finally did tell her, I'm like, you know what that might mean? You might have been taken on board. She's like, what? What? I'm like, yeah, people go into hypnosis and they recall this. Would you ever consider that? And she's like, no. And I ended up talking to her mom too, and Carol, her friend, and getting a full-on interview with all of them. And they all felt pretty much the same. Like, yeah, this was close. It followed us. It was saucer-shaped, colored lights, no sound, very low, treetop level, right above the telephone wires. But they don't really want to know what happened. They're scared.
Yeah, I could imagine. So is that typically what a lot of people believe happens during that missing time is that they're taken on board, or I mean, I guess it's hard to know. Is that what most of them believe happens during that time?
Yeah, and certainly UFO researchers believe this. Regressive hypnosis has shown this to probably be, what is actually happening. And I know hypnosis is controversial and not always accurate, but I think in these cases it is. Honestly, I really do, for a number of reasons. Because first of all, the people who have gone under hypnosis, their stories are matching perfectly the ones that remember it consciously. And people who do go under hypnosis do have snippets of recall often.
That's what I was about to
Um,
ask, if some of the stories that you've encountered, if any of them are able to recall anything after a certain point in time.
yeah, sometimes it'll all come flooding back. Boom, boom, boom. Like one guy I had interviewed from Washington, Everett, Washington, had a missing time encounter as a kid. They were all at the drive-in movie theater. Fog comes rolling in, the movie's canceled, and they're driving home at like 5 miles an hour through this thick, thick fog. And this is a red flag here, fog, and UFO encounters are best buddies. And suddenly this UFO shows up, and next thing he remembers, he's being pulled out of the car right up through the roof. And after that, he remembers they're walking into their house and it's daylight. And that's how it stood for years till he was an adult and cracked his wisdom tooth, accidentally bit down on something and crack. And when that happened, all these memories came flooding back. This is what I call a cue. And I've got a million examples. Well, 100,000,
Wow.
whatever. But yeah, it's a cue. And he remembered this 5-hour long abduction onboard experience. I
Wow.
actually prefer to call it. Abduction is a charged word. But yeah, that people do remember, sometimes in little snippets, sometimes through dreams, sometimes with a cue of various kinds. But often, no, they don't remember ever unless they go under hypnosis.
Okay, well that leads me to the question that David Flowers asked. He said, "Do you think that people's memories are being erased?"
Um, I'm not sure I would use that word erased. I would say suppressed. Uh, and absolutely. And I think there's a double-edged sword here, because there are cases where the ETs are like, after a person recalls and that person's taken on board again and that person asks about it, and they're like, no, we didn't do it. You did it. Your own mind suppressed it. I'm not sure that's true in every case, because in many cases, people are given what amounts to a post-hypnotic suggestion to not recall this until it's time. And that happened to Sergeant Charles Moody. He was taken on board in New Mexico, Alamogordo, New Mexico in 1964. And the ETs, which were human looking, by the way, largely human looking, said, you won't remember any of this until the time is right. And he remembered it like 2 weeks later. And that's what happened to John Hunter Gray. That happens quite often. People will remember like right afterwards, a couple of weeks. I think this allows the ETs to, I don't want to say cover their tracks, but in a sense. But really, I think ultimately it's to protect the witness from too much trauma. And it's effective that way, because the person, people think, well, I've had just a sighting, but then they start getting these flashbacks of like ETs looking at them and being physically examined and this sort of thing.
Wow. Amber asks, "Do you think certain people are more susceptible to an abduction or an event?"
Yeah, yeah. I would say that there are certain susceptibilities. One would be driving along on a desert highway late at night. Honest to God, this is when we see a number of abductions. You're just in the right place at the right time. Wrong place, wrong time, depending on your point of view. Another would be, is this in your family? Have your parents had this? Do you have a history of encounters? This leaves you more susceptible because they do track families. Another, and this is wild, but this is a pattern I've come up with, is your job, your profession, what you do for a living. I found an awful large number of people within the experiencer population are doctors, social workers, teachers, writers, artists, inventors, police officers, musicians, entertainers, people who are doing creative types, people who are doing good work for humanity, healers, environmentalists, animal rights activists. Over and over again, I'm like, now I always make a point to ask, what do you do for a living? And this one guy's like, oh, I'm a bus driver. And I'm like, oh, okay. And we started talking about his really interesting bus driving stories because he had some fun stories. He's like, but really my passion is, I run this website and I give psychic readings. I'm like, oh, here we go. And it's like, yeah, I'm all about trying to get people spiritually enlightened. I'm like, it's okay. There's the answer.
Have you found that those people who are essentially spiritually enlightened, have you found that they're like that before, or does it sometimes heighten it or change that after they have an experience?
Yes and yes. There are some people who are, diehard skeptics and not particularly psychic, and it does absolutely enlighten them and ignites their psychic abilities. But often what we will see is people who are generally psychic do seem to draw these things to them, or ETs are attracted, I think, to psychic people. It's hard to say, but absolutely. I was looking at one of my books, Onboard UFO Encounters, which I think had like 15 cases in there. And maybe it was 10. No, it's 15. That's right. And almost half of them were profoundly psychic. Because by that point, I'd learned to really, look for that. And they were all describing how they would have precognitive dreams or out-of-body experiences or past life recall or clairvoyance. And this sometimes comes before and almost always comes after. So, yeah, one lady was told flat out, because she's like a medium, worked with the police, and all these psychic experiences, the ETs told her, this is our gift to you for what you have given to us. She gave them hybrid babies.
Wow.
Another lady I interviewed for a previous book, the ET said the same thing. They said, this is our gift to you for what you have given to us. Almost the same words. She felt somewhat violated because, she was, as she put it, abducted. She felt like it was against her will, certainly initially. She later sort of came around and realized how spiritually enlightening her experience was. She quit her job. She became a healer, a hands-on healer, a massage therapist, which is that weird pattern I keep seeing. And she now feels her encounters were benevolent. Initially, it can be quite scary.
Sure.
But the ETs told her, yeah, we have ignited your psychic abilities, and you are far more spiritually advanced than you would have been if we had not come into your life.
Have you found that when someone has several different abductions or events that they don't, I'm trying to think of the words I'm trying to look for, but do you find that they don't suppress the memory as much, or is it something that the person who is having this happen to them, they just become more accustomed to it?
Yeah, that's a difficult question to answer because this is sort of the realm of speculation a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, I think if someone is, I have noticed that, these experiencers are really nice people. They're very psychic. And initially, people can live a good half of their lifetime suppressing it, denying it, ignoring it. It can be scary. So people have a tendency to I don't want to think about this. And when that happens, the ETs, and I do believe this is what we're dealing with in most of these cases, will step it up a little bit. And if you continue to ignore it, they're going to come and scare the living daylights out of you until you face it. Because while they're not trying to scare people, I think they don't want people to live in denial either.
So acceptance.
Their main agenda, one of them certainly, there's many, is to wake people up, to increase their awareness. And if a person resists that, they will resort to stronger methods to get their attention. So some people, they accept it right off the bat. They're fine with it. Some people, they wake up in early childhood and that's it, it's happening. I'm going to accept this. But like Whitley Strieber is, I'd say, more the typical case. He was a young man and had an experience. He was somewhat newly married, a young kid, and the ETs come marching into his house, and that's when it woke him up. He started having flashbacks and all this, and realized he had been having experiences his whole life, but completely denied it. Yeah, another guy I interviewed, he was deeply religious and had an encounter when he was 21 years old. He was a single parent with a toddler son, and in walks a gray, and he wakes up, and it's oh my God. And the gray is taking his little son. And he said, "You're not taking my son unless I can go with you." And the gray said, "That's fine." And the gentleman I interviewed, Don is his name, looked at the gray and was "I know you. I know you, don't I?" And the gray's yeah. And suddenly all these memories came flooding back. He remembered that one time, he was a kid and was chased down the mountain by a herd of skunks. Well, it wasn't skunks. That was a screen memory. He remembered another missing time incident as a young kid. And various incidents throughout his life suddenly made sense. These weird figures that would come into his bedroom when he was a little boy. Boy, it freaked his mom out. They called the doctor. They thought he was going crazy. So it's different for each person, but at some point they wake up or they don't. I'm sure a lot of people are having experiences and just live their entire life in complete denial.
So a lot of the time so you say that, they do track these experiences and such. A lot of the time, is it the same group of ETs or grays or whoever is doing the abducting? Is it the same group typically that will have, will, I guess, abduct multiple times, or is it okay?
Yeah, generally speaking, it's the same group of grays. And in fact, often a person will work with one particular gray throughout their life. And we'll call them, some get the name even.
Wow.
Some give them a nickname like the doctor or, what have you. But generally speaking, a person has a handler, so to speak, or a guide. Maybe that's a better word. And it's usually the same group. And mostly it is grays, though I will say that people are contacted by various types of grays. And often the praying mantis are there working with them, or human-looking ETs. There's a wide variety of ETs, really.
I was going to ask how, because I know we've got a bunch of questions coming in here that I'll get to here in a second. I was going to ask, do you, from your interviews, how many different groups of different types of ETs and grays and such have you encountered?
Well, it's adding up quick. I can tell you that. It's a lot. Grays mostly. And there's a wide variation among grays, just like there's a wide variation among humanity. Mm-hmm. And, we have a very wide variety of human beings. And we're all human. We're all the same, regardless of skin color or, race. So-called race is kind of a misnomer. We all bleed red. I mean, genetically, we're so darn close. It's ridiculous. But we have people who are, 7 feet tall and dark skinned, or 4 feet tall and dark skinned, or 5 feet tall and pale, and just all the, and that's the same true with the grays. So you have a wide variety of grays, and some I think are substantially different. I mean, we have little 3 foot tall, like android AI almost, perhaps not quite a living being as we would think of it, but you have short grays that are like 4 to 5 feet. That's very common. Some are 6 feet tall. I don't know how well all these guys are related to each other, but I'm imagining they're all very much related and are essentially human, really, have shared genetics with us. This is what the people are being told, that we're not that far removed from them. But so there's lots of grays. There's praying mantis. I would say that's second most common, or certainly a strong runner-up, along with human-looking ETs, which also come in a wide variety. It's not just Nordic, blonde and blue, blue-eyed and blonde hair. Some are, brown-skinned and brown-eyed, but also strange humanoids. There's a good, strong category of just 8 foot tall beings with jet black hair and giant eyes, or a 9 foot tall being with straw-like hair sticking straight up and a huge jutting chin, and short little humanoids, dark skinned in one case, light skinned in another. I mean, it's just, the variety is endless. And I'm like often contacted by people who are describing what appear to be unique humanoids. Absolutely unique.
Wow.
So
I had no idea there was so many different varieties.
Yeah, I mean, people have tried to count them. They're like, well, it's, at least 4 main ones. I'm like, yeah, at least 4. Others are like, well, it's 50. And I'm like, yeah, probably is at least 50. I'm going to say it's hundreds. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'll get to a couple of the different questions here. Jim says, when individuals experience an event, do you feel some suppress the event or are told by government officials never to discuss what happened?
Yeah. Yes to both. If someone has a simple sighting, I think they're more apt to report it. But I always ask people, I'm like, okay, did you report it? No. Did you? No. One in gosh, it's like 1 in 100. Honest to God.
Wow.
Will report this. Not a lot. And let's be generous. Let's say it's 1 in 50. But if you are taken on board, you are much, much less likely to tell anybody. And often people, when they contact me, they're like, I haven't told, my spouse. Nobody knows. Or only my wife knows. So most people, I think, are keeping it secret. And some people are absolutely approached by government and threatened. That's not super common. It does happen, especially if you have physical evidence. Really great photographs, they'll be stolen, or a physical artifact, which does happen. The government will show up. I was threatened once, honest to God.
Wow.
Yeah, it was sort of oblique, if you know what I mean, kind of, how would I put it? It was subtle.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you subtly threaten someone? Well, he did.
The government, I can see the government doing that.
I was a young man. This was in 1992 or so. I had just started having a lot of my own sightings. I was in the middle of a giant investigation into a UFO wave in Topanga Canyon. And I had put up flyers on the bulletin boards. I was going house to house. I was camping out in the field. I was interviewing a lot of people. And yeah, I would put up these flyers. It was a picture of a UFO. Have you seen me? Call me. And I go back to the bulletin board, and that flyer would be gone. I must have put out 100 flyers. And people were snapping them up and calling me. I called the police, gave them my number. And that's when I got this call from some government official. And I have to take his word for it that he was a government official, because that's what he said. He's like, I worked for the government. He said like he was a colonel or something. And I'm like, oh. He's like, are you Preston Dennett? I'm like, yeah. He's like, the one who's investigating UFOs. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And I'm super excited, like, this is interesting. And he's like, well, you should stop investigating. It's dangerous. And I'm like, oh,
Wow.
it is. Why? He says, you don't know what you're getting into. I said, oh, what am I getting into? He says, it's not what you think it is. And I said, well, what is it? Because he was being weird. I'm like, come on, tell what are you trying to say? And he's like, well, it's not what you think it is. I'm like, well, what is it? He says, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm like, well, what? That doesn't tell me anything. He's like, well, there's no pay dirt in it. I'm like, well, wait a second. This is what I'm thinking. He's like, I'm like, wait a second. You just said it's dangerous, but there's no pay dirt in it. So if it's, I mean, this isn't really adding up to me.
Right.
So he was talking in circles and very evasive and just being weird. And, at some point I realized he was, trying to threaten me. I'm like, oh, okay. And the conversation didn't get anywhere, and we eventually just hung up. And I was pretty flattered ultimately, because go ahead, come after me. I don't care. I am going to investigate this. This is far too important. I don't care. I know there's life after death. At this point, I had a bunch of out-of-body experiences, which were just, for whatever reason, became a big part of my life. And I knew there was life after death. So I wasn't scared. And come at me. I was flattered. I was super happy, actually.
Wow. So how many people did you end up interviewing? I mean, so I guess people were pretty open to talk about things and talk about their experiences.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now it's hundreds upon hundreds of people I've interviewed. It was at least like 50 for just that particular investigation into the Topanga Canyon wave.
Wow.
And still finding new witnesses to that wave, by the way. On one night, June 14th, 1992, the skies must have opened up. Oh my God, so many people were reporting sightings on that one night. Cars are being chased down the road. We've got 4 car chases on one night. That one night, one car was lifted up. They were taken for sure. They had missing time. Other people had these craft landing next to their house. Someone had a UFO hover right low over their house in the middle of the night, woke them up because it lit the entire interior of their house up in bright white light. They thought it was morning. Went running outside, and no, it was this huge craft right over their house making a low buzzing noise. I ended up talking to a lot of people. Yeah, some saw a couple of craft. Some saw mothership letting out smaller craft. Some saw like over 100 craft coming up from below, from like either the water, according to one witness, and behind a ridge from another 2 witnesses. Another witness saw them coming up from the ridge itself, coming out of what appeared to be an opening or something. So a lot of witnesses to that one wave.
Is that in California?
Yeah, that's right off the coast.
Okay.
I thought, is there a base there? That was when I really started wondering, and my research started to shift into the Santa Catalina Channel.
Ah.
I started getting reports of USOs, objects coming, unidentified submersible objects. And I got reports from the beginning of these objects coming out of the water, and they started to stack up again. And finally, I ended up having to write a book about it because I had 150 cases.
Wow.
And I'm like, something is going on in this particular stretch of water. It's, mile for mile, I think it's got to be the most active producer of USO reports, perhaps in the world. I can't say that for sure, but it's in the top 10, easy.
Wow. And that's what I really like about you and your research, is the fact that I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to like demographics and different, statistics, that sort of thing of people telling consistent stories and finding all this information and data. So that's what I really like about you with your cases that you do, and that people seem to really want to talk with you and share. And you really take that in and document and research those cases. So that's what I really like about your work and what you do with that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's so much
Um,
fun, especially when you get corroboration, like investigating a sighting. And like there was this one landing at Playa del Rey, and I was researching all the archives, and I found all these sightings on that same day, verified by police. 100 calls came into the police station. The Navy was chasing objects around. This is a really famous case, this Playa del Rey landing. And I got corroboration in a really cool way. It was awesome.
oh, that's cool. I mean, it's the same way with, when we're doing paranormal research, when we can get different tools to go off at the same time and get the corroboration of the tools with what were the personal experiences. That just I love that. Um, and we have another question here I wanted to get to. Amber said, "Where do you think they come from, and how much government cover up is involved, in your opinion?"
I'll answer the second question first. How
Okay.
much government cover up? A lot, lot. They know everything that's going on. They are neck deep in this. They take this subject extremely seriously. An enormous amount of time, money, and effort is put forth to not only study this, but to cover it up. Project Blue Book is pretty well known. And we now know as researchers and Blue Book insiders, this is the Air Force study project, that it was a complete cover up. J. Allen Hynek was the astronomical consultant, and he defected from Blue Book because it was such a heinous cover up. He said they would spend all their attention on something that was obviously Venus. And if someone had a really good encounter, they would attack their psychological state. I mean,
Wow.
it was crazy. There was this one case where this UFO was hovering over a school. They'd love to do that, by the way. I wrote a whole book on that. It came right down low over these three ladies, three adult women, so low, about 10 feet up. Scared the living daylights out of them. I mean, one of them urinated herself. Scared her so bad. They got their neighbors. The neighbors came. A group of 10 people were watching this. They called the police. The police saw them. It was a great case. And Project Blue Book comes in and says, Venus. What you saw was Venus. I'm like, wait a second. It was 10 feet over their head. So yeah, the government cover-up is insane. They are lying. Do not look to them for the truth on this subject. Yeah, they're disclosing a little bit, but boy, that recent disclosure is layered with lies. I do not trust them. I don't. And
Yeah.
they know, they have the craft, they have the bodies, they know all about what's going on. They know it's ETs, and they are lying about it and will continue to lie about it. All
So
right.
when Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, just real quick, the second question.
Hmm.
Where do they come from? Wish I knew. I wish I knew. We don't know for sure. It's clear, I think, that they're extraterrestrials. People say, well, maybe they're interdimensional. They can move interdimensionally. And that's obvious because the stars are so far away, and these craft are appearing and disappearing and moving at right angles and changing size and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They've mastered interdimensionality. But humans are also interdimensional. I mean, we have a soul. There is another side, the other side.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's really that useful to label these guys as interdimensional beings because, yeah, of course they are. We are too, and all beings are. Time travelers, I don't think they're coming from our future. I mean, there are a few cases you could march out which sort of speak to that. But the great majority of cases, it's pretty apparent that these guys are coming from what we would term outer space, because these craft shoot straight up. They'd come out, tiny little dot in the sky, and off they go. And some people have ask, like, where are you from? And they will give often coy, evasive answers, like, we're from a place you don't know about yet, or it's not important, or you wouldn't understand. Betty Hale, of course, got the star map, which pointed towards Zeta Reticula, and that does come up in a few cases. Orion comes up in far more cases. Very Cygnus, that star Andromeda, which is a galaxy. But generally, they're pretty evasive about where they actually come from. It's my assessment that come from other planets, very much like ours. So planets that are, have water on them and oxygen, and and I think life is far more common out there than we're being told. NASA certainly isn't telling us the truth. NASA stands for never a straight answer, and that's not my moniker. That's reporters gave that to them years ago during the moon missions, when they kept getting caught in lies. So, yeah, I think they come from other planets. I really do. I think the evidence that we have points towards that, because these are metallic craft with portholes that give off magnetic fields, that leave landing traces, that appear on radar. And the crash retrieval reports make it pretty clear what these are. These are extraterrestrials.
Jim says, are you familiar with the story of President Eisenhower meeting with a Gray in 1954 and reaching an agreement between the Gray could capture humans for medical experiments?
Yes, I am. And I'm not so sure that is what actually happened. That is something that was put forth. I think it was John Lear who put that forth, that, they exchanged technology to allow, and the government would allow abductions to take place. I don't know that we have any solid evidence pointing towards that. I'm not going to completely deny it, but the contactees I've talked to said, no, no, that's not true. The meeting did absolutely take place at Edwards Air Force Base in February 1954. It's very well verified. I mean, rumors started flying around immediately afterwards, because there was 2 or 3 whistleblowers back then who were there and said, I was there. Gerald Light in Mead Lane spilled the beans. And there was another Air Force officer who was a pilot. And then there was another guy, and then another guy. And researchers started tackling this case. And the evidence that this meeting took place is outstanding. It's compelling. It's circumstantial, yes, but geez, the witnesses are now, there's a long list of witnesses who claim to have been there. And what apparently happened during this meeting was human-looking extraterrestrials said they were coming, because when they got there was a lot of people there. There was Albert Einstein. Gerald Light was a famous UFO researcher. There was a rocket ship inventor, very well known from Germany, I think, or Austria. Bishop McIntyre, a religious leader. There were Edwin Norris from the Hearst newspapers. All these people at the top of their fields were there. And Albert Einstein, did I mention him? All these people were there, including Eisenhower. And then these ships land and they put on a demonstration. They're like, look, we can turn our ships invisible. We can dart. We can do all these things. They take, apparently, Eisenhower and someone else, I believe, this is according to one of the accounts, on a ride. Gave him a little ride. And the ET said, you need to stop messing around with this nuclear stuff. You are going to destroy your planet. And they said, no, we're not going to stop our nuclear program. Would you give us technology? And he said, no, we're not going to give you technology, but we will give you spiritual wisdom. And we're like, no, we want technology. And the ETs are like, well, you have to disclose. You need to disclose our presence. And we're like, well, no, we're not doing that. So there was sort of an impasse there. They wanted what they wanted, and we wanted what we wanted. And I suppose it's possible that there was some sort of a deal struck where ETs were allowed to contact people, but I don't believe it was in exchange for technology. I mean, I can't say for sure. This is not really my area of expertise, honestly, but I have looked into that particular case in depth for my book, UFOs over California. And boy, is Edwards neck deep in UFOs. I mean, there are landings that have taken place, abductions that have taken place there, sighting after sighting after sighting after sighting, and for sure, reverse engineering as well. So we do have some ET technology, and we are working on it. So this subject has layers and layers and layers to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just 1 hour is or even two shows is not enough to cover, just all the different layers of it. I wanted to actually go on and pull up your website here because you mentioned your books, and I wanted to see here. Wanted to go here and share that because you have written so many books. I mean, you've been studying this and putting your findings out there. Um, Very impressive.
Yeah, those are just the UFO books too. I had to look into the paranormal, ghosts and Bigfoot and out of body experiences and levitation and all manner of stuff because there's this all connects in a weird way.
That was my next question. Do you believe that all of these are connected?
Yeah, I'm not going to call them the same phenomena. There is a school of thought that we're not dealing with extraterrestrials. We're dealing with a phenomena that wears different masks. And I am going to give a big old vehement no to that. I don't think these are separate. I mean, I think these are separate phenomena. I don't think they are the same thing putting on different guises. A Bigfoot is a Bigfoot. A ghost is a ghost. Yes, there are probably all manners of unexplained beings out there. Trickster spirits, bad spirits, good spirits, angels, demons, all manner of stuff. Fairies. The fairy lore, is got some pretty compelling stories to it. So I think this stuff is connected to some degree. I mean, there's some really amazing parallels between a near-death experience and an onboard UFO encounter. Both, report being pulled through a tunnel of light, and both report spiritual transformation. Both report, all kinds of scenarios that are very similar, but they're completely separate, different phenomena. And a near-death experience is not an onboard UFO encounter. It just isn't. But sometimes, I mean, there are cases that are tough to figure out. There was one guy in Canyon Country I interviewed who had a UFO land in his backyard. Next day, the Bigfoot showed up in the same spot. Following that, he had a poltergeist outbreak. And he is like, this is connected. I'm telling you, this is connected. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can see that. I don't know what's quite going on there. I mean, there was one case I was investigating, haunted apartments in Van Nuys here in Southern California. And they ended up moving out. It was this horrific haunting with these dark, evil spirits. And they moved out and into the new apartment, and they had a close-up UFO sighting like 1 week later. What's that? That is weird. I'm thinking that one experience can trigger another or open a person up to another or attract another. It's as if a person suddenly reaches a new level of awareness, perhaps, like they'll be taken on board and they're psychically woken up and they start seeing ghosts, or ghosts realize that this person can see me, and so boom, ghosts are coming at them. Mm-hmm. And same thing with like a near-death experience will trigger someone psychically, and then boom, they're taken on board a UFO. I'm like, whoa, perhaps the ETs are attracted to them now because they are psychically aware. So there are weird parallels. I'm still trying to figure that part out, but I am almost certain that these An ET is an ET.
Hmm.
And, a ghost is a ghost. I mean, most people who see a ghost, they're not going to have any other encounter. Most people see a Bigfoot, will not see a UFO. So these are clearly separate phenomena. So I don't think it's wise, really, to lump these all together as one phenomena and call it, an intelligence that is wearing different masks.
Hmm.
I don't think that's what's happening here.
I don't think so either. I mean, I think falling under sort of a supernatural sort of category, but as far as like being the same, I totally agree with you on that. Did you which came first, researching UFOs or researching paranormal?
UFOs, but kind of hand in hand. It all, I mean, it was weird how this all rolled out for me. I mean, yeah, saw this on the news in 1986, but it was in 1984, I tragically lost my mom to a heart attack, and I did see her ghost, her spirit, and I ignored it. I thought I was crazy. I'm like, I don't believe in ghosts. But by around, a year later, I'm being visited by her spirit regularly in the dream state. And by the time I'm investigating UFOs, I'm starting to look into out-of-body experiences. And I'm interviewing people about their UFO experiences. And I remember the lady Sylvia Walters, who I told you about, one of the first people I interviewed, the pilot and scuba diver. She's like, my house is haunted, in case you're interested. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, yeah. And it's really annoying because I'm the only one who sees the ghost. It's always bothering me, and it's ignoring my sister and my mom. And she described all these amazing events. And she ended up getting corroboration when she rented the house. And the renters are like, what's going on with this house? Why is the toilet flushing by itself? And all this stuff. She's like, oh, that's just the ghost. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank God. They thought they had an intruder. So they were actually a little bit relieved that it was just a spirit. So yeah, it all kind of came at once, but initially it was UFOs that really broke through that, wall of skepticism for me. But yeah, right on the heels of that was ghosts, and that opened it up to Bigfoot. I resisted for a couple of years. I was afraid it might be real. I really was. And I'm like, I don't want to get into that. What if it's real? That's a can of worms for sure. And it was a huge can of worms, and it was real. I was pretty upset. All of this was not I was not happy in the beginning. I really wasn't. I'm happy now, but it's still a struggle, honestly, to deal with it, because this is a lot, and it shifted my worldview in a way that I'm still trying to build back my belief system. And every time I do, something comes along and shatters it. So I'm done. I'm not going to believe in anything anymore. I just want to know. You know what I mean? I just want true knowledge.
I can understand that. Amber says that is an impressive collection of writing. What's your own favorite book, and where can it be purchased?
Oh, of all my babies, you're going to make me pick one. Okay.
Such a hard decision.
I love probably onboard UFO encounters. They're at the bottom right, because that is a collection of all my own cases. They're super extensive. These are all people who've been really like taken on board, and that's where you get like really the meat and potatoes of what's going on here. And I think it's probably certainly one of my most successful books. But I love them all. I love the schoolyard one too. Oh, that one made me cry. I had no idea I was involved in this field for years and years, and had no idea that UFOs were landing next to schools on a regular basis. There's a very famous case in Rua, Zimbabwe, Ariel Elementary School. I thought it was unique. I was wrong. There's 100 cases like this.
Wow.
They are contacting kids. it was just so touching to find all this out, because who doesn't love kids? I mean, they're so precious, and to hear these little kids describing this stuff is just amazing. I love that one too. Yeah, oh, and the healing one, because you don't. Yeah, it's a tough choice. The healing one I like because it's so unique. People just, it doesn't get hardly any attention, and it really shows. I think it explodes the alien threat narrative, which is not true. Yes, this can be scary. Yes, people do have negative experiences, or perceive them to be negative. I think that would probably be more accurate, because the ETs are not trying to hurt people. They're not trying to scare them. They're not sadists. They're not torturing people. We are far more evil than the ETs are here on Earth. It's horrific, the things a human will do to another human. The ETs are healing people on a widespread basis. I document 300 cases,
Wow.
and I know that's the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more cases I've gotten since that book was published, and it's just been just over a year or so. Maybe 2 at this point. Time is flying these days. But yeah, I mean, I love all my books. It's so hard to choose. Onboard UFO Encounters, that's my favorite.
So, as far as her second part, where can people purchase some of your books from?
Oh,
Is
you
there a
can,
link on the website?
yeah,
Let me
yep.
see.
I think
Okay.
if you want to visit the website, that's a fun place to read excerpts and stuff. And Amazon is probably the best place. Uh, but yeah, online retailers, bookstores should carry them,
And I
specialty
just
bookstores.
added the the link to Preston's website. So that's the link to the books page. But his site has got a lot of great resources on it where you can find a lot of different information. Um, Everything from, he's got videos on there, and biography, his blog, events. Anything coming up for you here in the next little bit, Preston?
Oh, I'm doing a little conference here and there. I think I'm doing the Wisdom Conference. I believe that's what it's called, coming up. I'm talking about UFO healings. I'm working on another book about a lady in Florida who I love. She's become my best friend, really. And she is amazing. Oh my God, she's so amazing. She's had conscious encounters since she was like 14 years old. And oof, boy, this is going to be my favorite book when it comes out. I'm working on it now. I've done hours upon hours upon hours of interviews. But the things she's describing, I've gotten it piecemeal from so many other people. And here's this lady's like, yep, this happened to me. And she's laying it out in one cohesive narrative in a way that I've never heard before. Everyone I've ever interviewed, she, I think, has a greater understanding of what's going on than anyone I've talked to.
Wow.
So
Wow.
excited about that.
Is she just accepting, or just has she researched this, or is this just seem to be just sort of um, just a good personal knowledge of it from her experiences?
Personal knowledge. No, she does not have a UFO library. uh, Generally speaking, most experiencers don't. They shy away from the books. And she's, a pretty busy woman throughout her life. She's had a lot of jobs and stuff, and is also busy being pulled on board and doing all this stuff with the ETs. It's amazing. So no, she didn't research it. I mean, she has looked into it a little bit more very recently, because now she's, stepping out of the shadows a little bit. But she previously kept this very quiet from everybody, including family members. She told her dad, who apparently also had some encounters, but for the most part has kept quiet about it, and has not done research except on her own aspects of her own experiences. which is often what people will do. They'll like, oh, this happened to me, and they'll look up this, the science aspect of it.
From your experience with interviewing these individuals, are these uh, ETs, are they old? I mean, are they very old?
Um, well, as a species, yeah, they are, as a species, quite old, uh, hundreds of thousands, a million years even. I mean, their technology is unbelievable. And they do, individually, yes, some of them are quite old. And I've asked this, and it's hard to get a really solid answer on this. But some of them do live in excess of a couple of hundred years, is the answers I'm getting from contactees. Because I always ask them, I'm like, what's the oldest ET you've? I'm like, well, I didn't ask how old they were, but he was old. I mean, Whitley Strieber talked about seeing an old ET. Another lady was told that they were like 300 years old. This lady from Florida, she's seen some really old ones who she believes were at least 200 or 300 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, they have a lifespan that is absolutely longer than ours. But this is encouraging. Our lifespan is getting longer and longer too. I mean,
That's
if you
true.
go back a couple hundred years, people were dying at 40, 30 even, and now it's 80, it's 90, it's 100. There was a guy in Florida who was contacted by the Greys, and he'd been contacted many times. He's like, what? He's like, if you're going to keep contacting me, he's gotten over his fear. He's like, fix my hernia, heal my hernia. I'm like, we know of this condition that you speak, and we will repair it. Almost a direct quote. And they did. And he's like, why are you taking me? And they said, oh, we are interested in your genetic potential to live a long time. And turned out that he did have that genetic potential. His grandfather was 106 and still active. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who are experiencers who've said, I'm 80 years old and I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, you have the heart of a teenager. Often they enjoy excellent health. Not always. There are a number of women who have, gynecological problems as a result of their encounter. Some people have eye problems, light sensitivity. There are a few cases where people have unusual medical conditions that could possibly be related to all of this. But by and large, people tell me over and over again, I believe they've upgraded my health. And I've heard it enough times where I think that, yeah, that is a consistent feature of UFO contact. Contactees live to be quite old.
So do you believe that they are studying us, or more than likely trying to teach us or inform us through these encounters?
I would say both. They're absolutely very interested in us physically, emotionally, mentally, geographically. I mean, they are picking plants, flowers. They are taking animals. They are the caretakers. They are the watchers. They are absolutely, kind of like our progenitors, our parents even. They're very, very concerned about our planet. They are warning people about nuclear proliferation over and over and over and over, warning about pollution, about our warlike ways. They are caring for us for sure, practicing medicine, not experimenting. They are absolutely working with people in an attempt to maintain their health. I'm not the only one saying this. Barbara Lamb, John Mack,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of researchers have come up with the same, conclusions. Yeah, I think they are absolutely studying us for sure. There's something really special about being human. We have the ability to feel in a way that is off the charts, and they seem to be really interested in our emotional abilities.
Do you think that's what makes us so different from them?
Perhaps I'm not so sure we're so different from them, honestly. But yeah, I think that is a subtle difference, if you will. People do say, "Oh, these ETs don't seem that emotional to me." I think part of the problem is a lot of people are in a state of fear and they have
Sure.
difficulty perceiving correctly. And also, we have a tendency to, look at a person's face to judge emotion. And so if someone's not smiling, we're like, well, they're kind of cold. And what happens is often people will, who are having encounters, get through the fear barrier, they raise their psychic abilities, start having real telepathic contact. And that's when they realize, oh my gosh, these ETs are emotional. They do have a sense of humor. They are very empathetic. But there's, absolutely some good evidence that the ETs have, some of them, the Greys, bred out their emotions to some degree. Because in a number of cases, they have told people this. We have lost our ability to reproduce, and we've bred out our emotions because we were unhappy with how aggression was causing problems in our society. And now they're moving back towards, being able to reproduce, apparently successfully now, and having more emotion. But I would caution people to say, the Greys are emotionless robotic creatures, because that's just not true. I've talked to people who said that they've felt a sense of love from their Greys that was like the love they felt when they had their first child, when they fell in love with their spouse. I mean, a ultimate, really unconditional sense of all-embracing love. And in fact, Betty Andreasson was told by Quazga, her Grey, that said, he told her, love is the answer for humankind. That's a direct quote. And I love that because I'm like, wow, here's a Grey talking about love. Why is this not getting more attention? And I have other cases just like it. So I'm going to say that, yes, some are unemotional, but they're moving towards emotion. And I think they've been misread and misjudged. So some of that might actually not even be true, that they are emotional.
Wow. Very interesting. I mean, I could I could go on probably for another hour. Thank you, Preston, for coming on. And I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here in a few minutes. If, like I said, if you want to go ahead and kind of promote, if anyone wants to reach out to you, if they have had an encounter or an experience, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Oh, there are multiple ways. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel. My website is probably one of the best ways because you can easily contact me through my website or directly by email. I'll give it out here right now. It's super easy to remember. It's my name, Preston UFO at gmail.com. I always love hearing from people, whether you've got a comment or a story you want to share or a question. This is an important subject. I know there are skeptics out there who haven't done their homework. If they look into this, shame on you. No, if you do your homework, it's pretty obviously this is a real phenomena. But people will tell me, oh, it does, I believe in it. It doesn't affect me though. I'm like, if you knew what your government knew, you would realize how much this is affecting you. And the day is gonna come. It's coming when disclosure happens. Maybe not voluntarily by the government. Could be through a CE5 group, people calling down UFOs. It could be from the Chilean government, Brazil, Mexico, France, Canada. Hope it's the USA, but I doubt it. It could come from the ETs. Very well. One day we will have open official contact. They will show themselves on a large scale basis. It's already been happening bit by bit. I mean, like the Phoenix Lights. is a good example. If that were to happen today, it's almost game over. And I think it's coming. I mean, this is an
Yeah.
important subject. I really think so.
And that was someone had just I saw where Douglas had mentioned that up in some of the comments talking about the Phoenix Lights. Um, are all of the um, governments in sort of agreement with this about keeping it quiet, or is
Yeah.
this sort of a conflictual thing?
No, they're all in cahoots. Shame on them. They're on my naughty list. How dare they to say that this isn't real and call UFO witnesses fools and idiots and liars when they know full well that this is a real phenomenon. It's completely disingenuous. And as near as I can tell, and there are researchers who really specialize more in this than I do, because I'm more on the experiencer side. But yeah, as near as I can tell, Russia, US, England, France, all the major, what we would call superpowers, are cooperating at the highest levels on this subject. And even like all the wars and the disagreement and strife is somewhat engineered. I mean, we have companies that sell weapons to both sides. This is no secret that wars are being, actively put forth.
Hmm.
So it's really unfortunate. And this is why I think we have to be very careful trusting our governments on this subject. There is no evidence that they have our best interests in mind. And it's
Right.
really important. And it's up to people. If I could give anyone any advice, it would be wake up. Wake up to the UFO presence. Reach out to them telepathically. Meditate. Garden. Become independent. Live your life based on knowledge and truth and love. And fight for the truth. We have to find a way to overcome the greed and corruption that is choking our planet. This cannot go on. And I think this is why the government is really putting forth this cover up, the governments, because once people realize that we're not alone and we have ET friends out there and they're healing us and you can psychically contact them. And if we can develop our ability to, become empathetic with each other and erase our false divisions and realize we are
Hmm.
all one, all the lies and corruption will fall away. It'll fall away. We are one. We may not know each other. We have differences, but if you get to know a person, regardless of their political affiliation or their religion or their skin color or their financial status, they will help you. All you have to do is get to know them. People are loving, good people. Most of us, I think, are at that point. And it's really time for us to please come together and live with truth and knowledge and love and be kind to each other and garden.
Hmm.
Grow your own food. Help
Yes.
people. Uh,
Were you surprised by the report that came out with just how much information was not in that? I know a lot of people that was hopeful, that they were going to find out information in that latest report. Were you surprised?
no, I was hopeful. I'm optimistic by nature, I think. I was really hoping for a nice, clear film and maybe a metal fragment because they said they had it. And I mean, we know they have the whole ship and the bodies, but I was hoping they would give us a little, tidbit. Come on, give us a little cookie crumb. We know you've got it. So I was hopeful, but I was not the least bit surprised. The only thing that's really good that's come out of this, and it's so good, is that it's woken people up. I'm not sure they expected that there would be such a huge reaction from a large segment of the population who's like, oh, well, the government said UFOs are possibly extraterrestrial. And that was enough to really cause a wave of people to be like, maybe it is real. And while our government is dragging their feet and lying, I think people are now really beginning to look into this on their own. And that's what I really hope people do, because I don't believe our government is going to be fully forthcoming until it's to their benefit. And the only way it will be to their benefit is if people are like, we've had enough of you and your lies. You're out of office. At some point, revolutions in government are normal in human history. And we're seeing it constantly. And it's going to happen again. And sooner or later, good people will prevail. And these one percenters, these banking industries, the drug industry, the insurance industry, oil industry, these guys are on my naughty list. They know who they are. And they're not going to get away with it. Good will prevail. ETs are the one who are really, I think, have a handle on what's going on. And I think they will intervene if worse comes to worse and there's an existential crisis and the crap hits the fan. We're going to see big changes. But we'll see how this all rolls out. It's a good time to be alive. It's a good time for UFO research. Yeah, it's crazy times right now, but the good news is people have woken up to the greed and the corruption and the unequal distribution of wealth. And that can't go on. And it's going to change. And we're going to do it.
I like that. I like that. And so, on that note, like I said, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. And again, thank you, Preston, and thank you everyone in the chat room for your wonderful comments and questions. Really enjoyed tonight's show. And just on a few notes about a few things coming up over here in the Ghost Biker world. I know you guys have seen some different posts that I've made today over on the Ghost Biker Explorations Facebook page. Excuse me. We're going to be having a haunted ride with Ghost Biker here on Saturday, September 25th. And we've got all of the information, including the motorcycle ride map, on the Haunted Ride with Ghost Biker event page. It's going to be kickstands up at 145 in La Follette, Tennessee. I've got that address over there on the page, and we're going to be riding through some of the most beautifully scenic, historic, and haunted area here on the Cumberland Plateau. The ride is approximately 80 miles, and it's right around about an hour and 40 minutes, but we've got a stop planned on the ride. We're going to be riding to the historic Scott County Jail. We'll be there for 45 minutes, and then we will be going and doing, we'll be going to the R.M. Brooks bike event, which will take place at 5. So all of this is going to take place, like I said, about at 1:45. It'll be kickstands up. We should be arriving at the jail around 3, and then we'll be there leaving just a little bit after 4, which will put us there at the Brooks bike event around 4:30 in the afternoon. So, and that runs from 5 until after it gets dark. And there'll be food, live music, all kinds of really cool things. We'll be releasing more information about this ride after we get off the live here, as well as tomorrow and leading up to the ride. So if anyone intends to do the motorcycle ride with myself and some other bikers on Saturday, please just make sure to RSVP and let me know by 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday evening. And we really want to try to get at least 10 bikes for the ride to make. So I apologize for the short notice on the ride. I know I've been saying we're going to do it, but with opening the new business, getting ready for season 4, we've had a whole lot going on, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it to make. So, but that is happening this Saturday. And then next week in Las Cruces, New Mexico, myself, Dr. Sumner from Soul Sisters Paranormal, as well as Leon Wilkes, Sarah Sathers. A lot of folks are going to be out in Las Cruces, New Mexico for the first annual Las Cruces Paracon, which is going to be on Friday and Saturday Saturday and Sunday of next week, which is, I think, October 2nd and 3rd. And then Ghost Biker season 4 kicks off on the very next Tuesday, and that's going to drop every Tuesday night on the Ghost Biker Explorations YouTube channel, Facebook page, and also on www.ghostbikerexplorations.com. So we'll have more information on that coming up, and then the big Halloween party in Florida. So at Crystal Harley Davidson. So that's just a few things going on. A lot of things coming at you, kind of fast and heavy here. So stay tuned to the Ghost Biker Facebook page for more information coming up. So again, everybody, please have a great week. Watch out for motorcycles, and we will see you next Thursday night. Take care, everyone.